all day long. May I walk through the seasons. May I walk in peace. May I walk in peace. On this path, may I walk through my life. May I walk in old age. May I walk. Good morning. Welcome to the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Reverend Martha Quintana. I'm the senior minister here at the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living. And as you know, because of our stay-at-home order, we are getting very creative with our service. We want to spend as much time as we can with you. And so today, I'm broadcasting from my home, and unbeknownst to you, our tech team is all over town. We have Tammy Lambert and Annette Martinez across town. Kamatara Johnson is helping me out across the river here, and we are all here. We are all so glad you're here. I've also got my regular high watchers, Julia Washington, and all of our practitioners who are here surrounding all of us in a love that is so amazing that we are all happy to be here. We have in our congregation a group of people who have studied for 4 years to know the truth about ourselves. And the truth is that we are each a beloved child of a loving Creator. And in those moments when we don't use that, when we don't feel that, then we have this group of practitioners who are here to help us remember all of the things that we are here to remember. So please take a look at our website. There is a group of people there who are waiting for you to call them, these practitioners. And we also have a whole group of people at the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living who are helping us with all sorts of things. And as the morning goes on, we'll be able to tell you a little bit more about that. So you know what we teach. We are a Science of Mind center. We are affiliated with the Centers for Spiritual Living, which is a New Thought branch. And so what we teach is Science of Mind, which is the study of life and the nature of the laws of thought, the idea that we live in a spiritual universe, that God or Spirit is in, through, all around us, and that this presence is a loving source of all good. Most importantly, everyone, every man, every woman, every child, every person who lives in the universe is significant to the Creator. And for that reason, we believe the same thing, and our doors will forever be open to all. What we believe and what we are about here at the Rio Grande Center is a vision, which is connecting community through spirit. And we know that's what's happening today, is that we are connecting community through spirit. We recognize that an inherent desire in every individual is to have us live the best life that we can live. And so we're here to do that and to help each other do the exact same thing. I am so grateful for you. Without you, I couldn't be me in the way that I'm me. And without us, you couldn't be you in the same way that you're you. It's all about relationship. It's all about love. So let's take a moment to center. Let's do our invocation. How good it is to remember that the love of God is what weaves the very cells of our body, that light that is the sun, the one that comes shining through and shines equally on everyone, is the same love that shines on me today, for I am being woven of the divine every moment of every day. And so in this moment, I fall even deeper in love right now. I fall even deeper in love. And know that as I rest in this deep, abiding love, that this deep, abiding faith is already mine. And so I recognize it, wrap myself in it, enjoy it, and know that every person who hears my voice, who is with us online, everyone in the universe is subject to that same law, that same love. And I know today that every person who can hear me is encloaked in a love so deep, so dear, that each feel the love of God in this moment, that each know that he, she, they are beautiful and loved, that he, she, they have always been beautiful and loved. And so in this moment, we all cast off any cloak of burden, any cloak of worry, shame, guilt, fear, for that is not the truth of our being. And we stand together squarely in the cloak of love, knowing that that is the truth, that the peace that wells up from inside and cascades over each of us is the truth. And that through this truth, this love, we see the world exactly the way it is and exactly what our part is in it. So knowing that all is well and that this life is good, I invite you to say with me, and so it is. Amen. Thank you. Thank you for being with me. I could feel you all. We are creating such a circle of light around the world, such a circle of light around Albuquerque and the rest of our country. And we are each beacons of light. And today we are going to reclaim that light. We are going to reclaim it. I have been reading one of my favorite books, and that is the book by Ernest Holmes, Living the Science of Mind. And in the reading this week, he talks about your spiritual bank account. It's one of my favorite articles in there, and I'll be talking a little bit about it. But he starts out with a meditation. And before I get into my talk, I want to give you a spiritual reading from that. I'll post this reading a little bit later today on our Facebook website so you can have it, because he does it in the form of a meditation. So as I read this out loud, if you would, please read it, and please say it softly to yourself, and I'll talk as slow as I can talk, or well, not that slow, but so that we can all say it together. This is a meditation from Ernest Holmes. Believing that God is all the presence there is. Believing that God is all the presence there is. I am learning to feel this presence in everything and everyone. I am learning to feel this presence in everything and everyone. Dwelling on the thought that God is love, I permit my mind to become filled with the consciousness of this love. I permit this love to envelop everything and everyone, bringing with it a sense of peace and joy and certainty. Realizing that God is life, I open my whole thought to such a complete inflow of this divine life that I see it and feel it, the one perfect life, which is God, in people, in nature, animating every act, sustaining all movement. My faith in this life is complete, positive, and certain. Knowing that all things are possible to faith, I say to my own mind, I say to my own mind. Be not afraid. Be not afraid. Faith makes your way certain. Faith goes before you and prepares the way. Faith goes before you and prepares the way. Believing that God is in everyone, I meet this God in people, and I am one with everyone I meet. Knowing that God is peace and knowing that God is joy. I meet every situation in happiness. I commit my life unto that power which can do all things with complete assurance. And so it is. So I will post this meditation a little bit later in our Facebook, on our Facebook page, so that you can have it, so you can say it to yourself all day long. In the meantime, I would like you to listen to a song with me called "God Is My Source" by Karen Drucker.
God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Love is my source. Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need. Joy is my source. Joy is my power. Joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I need. Peace is my source. Peace is my power. Peace gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Peace gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything and every little thing that I need. And I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. Oh, God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything, everything I need. God gives me everything, every little thing, every little thing I need. God gives me.
Oh, how beautiful. That was God is My Source by Karen Drucker. And gosh, I could feel all of you dancing in your pajamas at home, dancing all around. God is our source. Today's talk is called Your Spiritual Bank Account by Ernest Holmes. And the article is from Ernest Holmes. And really, acceptance. Acceptance is the key. And here's what you have to understand, and I'm going to get into this in just a moment. Acceptance doesn't mean that you agree with everything. What it means is that you say to yourself, or I say to myself, it is what it is. And it gives me a moment to get a lay of the land, to understand exactly what it is that I'm doing and to gather all the facts that I can. I'm accepting the situation, accepting that it is what it is. And if I allow myself just to know that for a minute, just to quit fighting it, it gives me the opportunity to see what it is that I need to do. It allows me to make decisions. Acceptance is the key. Many years ago, I began my journey in a 12-step program, and I needed to come in through that. I see, looking back now, that I needed to come in through that route. When I arrived there, I was broken, completely spiritually bankrupt. I was an atheist, if you can believe that. I didn't believe in any God, and I didn't believe in any power greater than myself. And so when I arrived there, I had to find a new way to look at things, because ultimately what I really, really wanted, when I remembered in my heart who I was, is I wanted to be happy. And I just didn't know how to get there. Well, one day I was at a meeting, a 12-step meeting, and I couldn't quite get it. I just couldn't quite get what it is that these people were saying and what it is that they wanted. And I was at a meeting, and during the part of the meeting where people began to share about their stories, I saw this woman raise her hand first, and she said, "I have to speak first today," she said, "because I buried my husband this morning. And I knew the place I needed to be in the afternoon was with God, was with God and with you." And I looked at her and knew that in that moment, that's what I wanted. A faith so deep that I could sustain a loss like a husband that day and know that my place was still with God. That's when I knew what it is that I wanted, that kind of faith. And so I began to accept that I was broken and that I didn't know how to get to that faith. I asked that woman if she would be my sponsor, and to my great delight, she said yes. And it was in that journey that I began my way back to God, that I began my way back to a creator, to that creative force inside of me. And that's where we come to the spiritual bank account. Ernest Holmes uses this analogy because he is looking at spirit. He is looking at spirit as a kind of currency. He says when we go to the bank, we all know what it is to feel like we have all the money we need for all of our expenses. It's a good feeling. And he says in this article, he says, there is another kind of bank account, and he calls it the spiritual bank account. This article, if you want to read it on your own at home, is from Living the Science of Mind, and it's on page 232 of Science of Mind. He says, "Life has enough of everything to spare. It contains love and faith and peace of mind and joy. Would it not be wonderful if we could build up a spiritual bank account and hold it in reserve, an account which we knew would be sufficient to meet any emergency in our lives? For we are always being called on to meet emergencies, times when we need more love and tolerance, more kindness and understanding, a deeper faith, a higher hope. These are the real crises in our lives, and at such time, unless we have a vast amount of goods stored up, we not only become impoverished, but we sometimes become destitute of hope. And then despair takes the place of hope, and fear takes the place of faith. This is what we want to avoid. And so he goes on to say, what if we all opened an account with the Bank of Life today? In these times, we are sitting in a place where we've all been told to go home because there's a chance that we could catch a deadly virus and spread it to others. There's a chance that our world could be deeply impacted if we don't do this. And so for many of us, that has shifted to fear. I can't go out. I can't touch you. I can't be with you. And we can do the same things. We can do the exact same things to go home, to take care of ourselves, and to know with a faith so deep that this too shall pass. We do not have to come home and be afraid of others, but to be in this place where we began to exercise a faith so deep. I've been fortunate enough to hear from a few of our people this week, and in some cases, people were saying, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of what's happening out there. I'm afraid. And here's what we at the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living know and what we do so well. Last year, we began blessing everyone. And in this article, Ernest Holmes asks us to do something similar. He's saying to us, love everyone. Begin to build up this account you've just opened with the Bank of Life by sending love to everyone. Send love to all of those people that you might not agree with. Maybe they're not handling it well. Maybe we're out on the street and someone is doing something that we might consider foolish. Send them love. For right now, to send them judgment, to send them fear, to send them anxiety does not help them, and it certainly does not help us. Now is the time for each of us to become that something more, to become that beacon of love. It is everywhere. To be able to exercise that, to begin to build up this currency, he calls it, of love in our bank account, because there is a crisis in our midst and it requires us to be there with it right now. It requires us to be part of a goodness so deep, a faith so beautiful that we each know it. Now is the time. Please don't abandon yourself right now. If there is some part of you that feels abandoned, please send that part of you love. If it is the small child within that is afraid that something bad is happening, send that child love. If it is someone in our family that requires that, send them love. And we don't have to touch them. We don't have to hug them. All we have to do is build it, build some more and build it more. For there is a love so deep in each of us. That is our birthright. And it begins with an acceptance of where we are. And I'm not saying that you go from fear to faith automatically. That doesn't happen sometimes. But if I can start in a little place of sending love, I can send a little love. And what Ernest Holmes says is that from there we begin to develop a faith so deep, and this is our currency. This is our bank account. This is what we need and what we require. Holmes says, Faith is natural. Fear is unnatural. Faith is positive. Fear is negative. Faith is affirmative. Fear is a denial of life. Faith is positive. And we need a great deal of faith if we are going to meet all the fears and uncertainties that we are sure to encounter. Only a little faith cannot do this, he says. Just as we cannot pay $1,000 debt with $500, so it is impossible to meet a trying circumstance unless we have sufficient faith to cover all fear. As a matter of fact, we have as much faith as we can use. These are the times for us. So remember that we have all that we need. We have everything that we require in this moment. Holmes says, and he ends this article by saying, then when you meet your confusion, your fear, that place that is not quite there, he says, just write out your check on the bank of life and do not be afraid to sign it in the name of God. Pay to the order of Martha Quintana $2 billion worth of faith and then sign it in the name of God. God. This is God's bank. What we are in is God's bank. And just as surely as you do this, you will discover that your words of peace, acting as a law of God, of good, will draw upon a power greater than you are and liquidate the confusion. This is practicing the presence of God, coming to know that we are in partnership with the original banker, the one who made the bank of life, but the one who, in a certain sense, must wait for us to join in this divine partnership. So please join this bank today and be with us today. It is going to be a fantastic day. And now, if all the practitioners that are around the city would join me actually they're around our country, if you would join me in a short prayer. I know on this day that there is one life. This life is God's life. This life is perfect. This life is my life now. And as we join in this one life, all is well. For each of us are part of this great being. Each of us are part of this. And I affirm and declare in this moment that each of us have a deep, deep spiritual bank account from which to draw. That whatever fear there has been, we throw it out right here, right now. And we draw upon that deep reservoir, that well, that each of us write that check that is everything we need. So we write that check for faith. Each of us write that check for love, for law, for goodness, for peace. For truly this too shall pass. And I know that each of us will come out of this even better than before. For this one love that is each of us is already here, waiting to be heard, waiting to be acknowledged and received. And so on behalf of all of us, I receive it and know that we are one. So knowing that we are one, I give thanks. I give thanks for this day. I give thanks for each person who is a member of the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living, for all of us who are here together in this time of crises and knowing that there is a good that is waiting to use us and that we can use. I am so grateful. And so it is with a deep, deep gratitude that I release my word, knowing it cannot come back to me void, knowing that as I've spoken, it is done. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I am so grateful. So I have another song for us, and it's by Jason Mraz. And in the meantime, I'm sending around the virtual collection plate because as these days go on, we are still doing so many wonderful things. So I am sending around the collection plate as we sing to Jason Mraz.
I look into your eyes, it's like watching the night sky or a beautiful sunrise. Oh, there's so much they hold, and just like them old stars, I see that you've come so far to be right where you are. How old is your soul? And I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up. And when you're needing your space, to do some navigating, I'll be here patiently waiting to see what you find. 'Cause even the stars, they burn. Some even fall to the earth. We got a lot to learn. God knows we're worth it. No, I won't give up. I don't want to be someone who walks away so easily. I'm here to stay and make the difference that I can make. Our differences, they do a lot to teach us how to use the tools and gifts we got here. We got a lot at stake. And in the end, you're still my friend. At least we did intend for us to work. We didn't break, we didn't burn. We had to learn how to bend without the world caving in. I had to learn what I got and what I'm not, and who I am. I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up, still looking up, but I won't give up. God knows I'm tough. He knows we got a lot to learn. God knows we're worth it. I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for doing that with me. Well, that ends the live part of our program today. If you would join us in the social hall, I put that in scare quotes. We are inviting you to come back and just check in, see how things are going. In the meantime, thank you for being here. I so appreciate you. Namaste.